Hello, everyone. Welcome to Y.E.A.S.T, your energetic, authentic self today. I am Hope Yin.
This is Joy.
This is Sheila.
Hey, Joy, what's new today?
Well, I got to say, it's getting to the summer and it's really hot. But what's hotter than summer is the housing market. Can you believe that two of my team members are building houses?
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I did hear the housing market is really, really hot. I actually have someone that I know that the offer is so much higher than what they asked for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you said your team members are building houses.
Yes, they all know I built a house last year, right? So everybody was asking like, hey, how did you feel building a house? And I always say like, I'm excited, but I also noticed an interesting thing. Every time for probably the whole last year, since February, or maybe back in January, every time I mention to people, like I'm building a new house and people are like, that must be frustrating.
That's me, Joy. I'm telling you right here, right now, I will never build a house again because I have done that. I have been there. It was very exhausting.
That was interesting to me that I have heard so many comments because they didn't even ask me, how do you feel? They jump into right away. That must be frustrating. It must be stressful. It must be hard. Every time I look at them, how so?
Hey, I swear I didn't say that to you. Maybe I did.
So Joy, it sounds like there are a lot of those that you're running into who questioned you, or your team members who are looking to build houses. Sounds like they may have some limiting beliefs going on around what it's like to have a newly built house. How likely is it that that's what you're sensing with them?
Yeah, I think that's kind of, I have been thinking too, like what made them think I would feel stressful when I am building the house. That's actually the contrary, right? And then after I explained to them, like, hey, actually, I'm very excited for the new house I'm going to living in. But over and over, I start thinking, why would they have that thought? And exactly like you said, it's a limiting belief, right? It's a limiting belief they're holding either based on their own experiences, like what Hope was mentioning, based on her own house building, or they have been looking at others, people complaining to them, right? That's what they know, that's what they hear, and they believe, yes, everyone who is building a house equal to, yes, they're feeling stressful.
I can say that. I remember that was about 12 years ago when we were building our house, and I had a young child then. I had not early career, but working really hard on my career development, and didn't have a lot of time to make all the options. There's like thousands of choices out there. I'm like, oh my God, just get it done, choose whatever.
Understandable.
So how's your experience, Joy?
Mine, knowing I will have all the choices to me that make me excited. I can choose the color of the wall. I can choose the color of the cabinets. Although I only have one color throughout, it's all white, but I got to choose. I think the freedom of choice is really making me excited, right? You got to choose those things. And it doesn't have to be complicated, right? You already heard, I only have one color throughout the house. I only pick one countertop and we use it everywhere. You can make your life simple, no matter how complicated it presented to you.
Wow, I didn't know how you did that. When I'm given so many choices, I have to choose multiples. Shayla,
got
you were
to
going to say something.
No, I just said that's a great perspective. Absolutely. We can encounter all sorts of options, choices in front of us, but to make life easy, just pick one. You don't have to complicate it at all.
Oh,
And then you
wow.
have to live by that choice.
I guess
Or-
I didn't know I have that choice. I have like so many choices. I got to choose which room, what color. Oh,
Yeah, I guess that definitely having multiple choices giving people frustration, right? And no matter what they're going to choose, they're going to regret. If that's a mindset that they're having, of course they're going to feel frustrated, right? Because they choose white color, they're going to regret why I didn't do the gray, and vice versa. And that applies to the life too. Make a conscious choice, move on, don't regret on it.
Yeah,
mm.
and just view it as a choice, right? You made a choice, no regret with it, right? It's knowing that you had a choice, don't look back. And frankly, correct me if I'm wrong, Joy, you may have chosen white, but you still have a choice in each room if you want to take the time to paint and use
Exactly.
different colors.
Yeah. In Washida, you're also saying in the life, right? You can look back, but look back, focus on what did I learn? And then look forward, what do I want it to be, right? That
Exactly.
would be the way that why we can be happy or happier instead of always live in regret. What else could I do? What else can I do different today? Because every time you look back, you're missing the moment you are right now. And you're missing you're actually creating more regrets for your future.
That's very true. One thing about my decision will never build a house is what I learned from that experience. I will not make myself frustrated anymore.
That's the point, right? If you have a list, okay, I built a house. What did I learn that I can apply it to my next house I'm building, or to your next friend who is building a house, right? Look forward, apply the learning.
Absolutely. Hey, Shayla, what's new to you today?
What's new with me? Actually, I wanted to kind of tag on to what Joy was saying in the discussion, the limiting beliefs that we have around home building. I've not ever had a house built. My husband's fully capable of building a house. He actually once had his builder's license. But I too have limiting beliefs around stories that others have shared with me about their experiences with having a house built. So when he talks about building a house for us, I right away going, yeah, we're not doing that. Not gonna happen. He's like, why? I've heard too many horror stories. I don't want to go through that with you. And to Joy's point, he has said it's not as bad as what you think, or it can be just as bad as what you make it. It's just how you approach it. I still go, nope, not doing that yet. Not going down that path with you.
You and I are friends, so.
I might need some coaching around that, ladies, but I'm telling him no, we're not doing it.
Ask Joy.
And I would say, I think I can take credits. My team members look forward to build their houses because they have seen so much excitement from me. And I think if we talk enough, I might make you ladies, and look forward to building a new house. And we talk about that, right? Energy is contagious. My happiness, my excitement will make you look forward to that too.
So I get that energy is contagious. My question is, how contagious is patience? Because that's the other thing when I think about having a house built. I'm kind of that I want it now type of person. So the months that it may take to get the final product is what I'm focusing on. So
I concur that.
Yeah, I'm being authentic here right now. That's my concern when having a house built.
Okay, that makes sense. Waiting for months is, it can be long. But right now, with the speed of the building a house, 4 months, every day you're going to see the changes. I guarantee you that you won't feel that long. Before you know it, the house is ready.
Wow, only 4 months? It took
That's
like
what I
9 months for me.
That's what
That's
I was
why
thinking.
I
Only
couldn't
4 months.
wait.
Yeah.
See, okay. Well, look, you just start shifting your opinion because the limiting belief you were holding for so many years, like it takes a long time and years, is totally not true for the year of 2021. A house
That
can be
makes
built.
sense.
A house can be built in 3 or 4 months. That's it.
Okay, so I guess we should never say never. Maybe I
Mm.
will build another house when it can be done in a week. Okay.
I think that
Sheila.
might work for tiny houses, Hope. Those may not take as long.
But joke aside, building a house in a week is, I wouldn't say it's impossible, right? The truth is, if we define what you wanted, then we can look at the reality, what exactly the timeline, and checking the fact instead of just holding that thought in our mind, where we call it a limiting belief, right? I think we wanted to, for me, I always want to ask people like, well, I appreciate you sharing the comments, and somebody must share that feelings with you, but how true would that be for me? And they would say, oh yeah, I should ask you, how do you feel, Joy, when you're building a new house? And I would say, excited.
Awesome. Which I think
It's a great feeling.
you pointed out something there with the possibilities. So if we can move beyond the limiting beliefs that we may have around anything in particular and believe in the possibilities, then we're more likely to move forward from those limiting beliefs that we may have, particularly around having a house built. For sure. I'm still looking for that, the transfer of patience associated with it.
Yeah. Well, I think they have a model home build. When you look at that, it's still a new built house and moving in a week, Sheila.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Great
Yes.
advice. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Sheila, what's new to you today?
I don't have anything new really that I can think of. Just a lot going on. I'll kind of shifting the story. I'm fascinated, and we don't have to dwell on this, but when they're talking about the cicadas, I think you ladies know that I adopted 2 dogs earlier this year.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely outdoor dogs, and they're not helping with the cicada movement because I think they're actually eating them.
Oh,
That's what's new with me.
Wow.
And I have all sorts of limiting beliefs around what dogs should and should not eat. It's actually very entertaining. I understand they're full of protein, so I think they're healthy for them. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in my world, ladies.
It's interesting. Not only in your place, it's here as well. We see cicadas everywhere.
Yeah, but do you see dogs eating them?
You reminded me, I have a dog. I don't know whether she's eating it or not. Now I'm going to keep an eye on her.
Well, I have a house cat, so I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Like I said, it's actually, I'm fascinated by it because I've not seen dogs do that. And, with all the talk of the cicadas and, particularly here in Michigan, I believe they're advancing, if you will, but here in Michigan, I haven't seen them or heard them yet. And I have a nice tree in my backyard, and I've watched my dogs like scraping at the bark on this tree, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I'm seeing what looks like larva and some other things. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that could be the cicadas. And they're not helping it from a natural environment standpoint, because they're eating them. So it's fascinating to me. And I realized that I probably could save some money by not buying them dog food, because they're feeding off of the cicadas in the backyard.
Hey, everything has a good side when you think it's bad.
So yeah, I'm looking at it from an economical standpoint too.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. You also reminded me that, a lot of companies are going back to the office, right? Myself included. I think suddenly a lot of people start having all different emotions toward it, because it's something unknown.
Absolutely.
Unknown, and circling back, perhaps they've developed some limiting beliefs around what that looks like for them returning to the office, even though most of us have spent perhaps the equivalent of a lifetime working in an office environment, and we get a break from that, and then now it's time to go back, and all the emotions, the limiting beliefs that develop around that.
And that sounds, a really interesting topic that I would like to hear what other people are thinking. What are the thoughts in your mind when thinking about going back to the office? And what are the feelings you're having?
That's a great question. And I think we'll wait to see people who listen to our podcast, what comments they may have. And maybe we can come back to do another episode.
Agreed.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to Yeast, your energetic, authentic self today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone.